In this video, we will be studying about mathematics.
Students, in the previous video, we have seen what are angles. Then we have seen what is the interior of an angle and the exterior of an angle. We have seen what are meant by adjacent angles. Now let us move further with our topic. Students, look at these two angles. I have drawn two angles. First is angle ABC. The second one is angle PQR. Now, I will write the measures of these angles. Students, the measures of the angles are written over here. I'll consider the measure of this angle is 40 degree and the measure of this angle is 50 degree. So how do we write? We are going to write measure of angle ABC is equals to 40 degrees and measure of angle PQR is equals to 50 degree. Okay, this is how we write the measures of two angles. Now students, what we are going to do next is we are going to add the measure of these two angles. Okay, let us add the measure of these two angles. The measure of angle ABC plus measure of angle PQR. What is the measure of angle ABC? Measure of angle ABC is 40 degree and measure of angle PQR is 50 degree. The addition is total 90 degree. So you can say therefore measure of angle ABC plus measure of angle PQR is equals to 90 degree. Now students, if you get two angles, and if you add their measures, if you have two angles and you add their measures and the total or the addition of the measures is 90, is how much? 90 degrees. Then such angles are called as complementary angles. Okay, complementary angles are those angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Okay, I'm going to write a definition for you. Complementary angles is if the sum of the measures of two angles is 90 degree, then they are complementary angles. Understanding? If the sum of measure of two angles is 90 degree, then they are complementary angles. Students, the important word is this sum. The sum, the addition of the measures. So if you have two angles and if you add their measures and the addition is 90 degree, then they are called as complementary angles. Now let us look at this. One more example. I'm not going to draw a diagram this time. I'm just going to use notations. Okay. So consider that measure of angle A is 50 degree, or I would say 35 degree, and measure of angle B is 45 degree. Now, if I want to check whether these two angles, angle A and angle B, are complementary or not, okay, so what we have to do, we have to check the sum of the measures. We have to check the sum of the measures, that is the addition of the measures. Now, so what we are going to do is we are going to add measure of angle A plus measure of angle B. What is measure of angle A? 35 degrees. What is measure of angle B? 45 degrees. So what is the total? 35 plus 45 is 80 degrees. Now students, when can we say that these two angles are complementary? These two angles are complementary when the sum of the measures is 90. Now is the sum of the measures is 90? No, it is 80. So you go to say, since measure of angle A plus measure of angle B is not equal to 90 degree, therefore angle A and angle B are not complementary angles, are not complementary angles. Okay, I hope you have understood this type of sum or this concept. Okay, now let us look into a solved example from your book. Okay, the first solved example, I'm just taking it as an sum for you. It says find the measure of the complement of an angle of measure 70 degrees. It says find the measure of the complement of an angle of measure 70 degrees. So there are two angles who are complementary. There are two angles who are complementary, and the measure of one angle is 70 degree. You have to find the measure of the other angle. Now students, when there are two angles like angle A and angle B, if these two angles are complementary, then if angle A and B are complementary, then you can say angle A is complement of angle B. You can say angle A is complement of angle B, and vice versa, and angle B is complement of angle A. Understanding? So when they are saying you have to find the complement of the angle, then you have to understand that the angles which we are considering are complementary angles. And what are complementary angles? Complementary angles are if the sum of the measures of two angles is 90 degree, then they are called as complementary angles. So here they are saying find the measure of complement of an angle of 70 degree. So measure of one angle is 70 degree. Now we need to find the measure of its complement. So what we are going to say, we are going to say let the measure of its complement be x degree. So measure of one angle is 70 degree and the measure of its complement is x degree. Okay. Now what we are going to do is we know that these two are complementary. Therefore we can say therefore 70 plus x is equals to 90 degrees. Sum of the measures is 90. So I am adding the sum of these two measures of these two angles. The total should be 90. Therefore, you can say x is equals to 90, this plus 70 goes on the other hand side, it becomes minus 70. Therefore, x is equals to 20 degree. Understood? Now, we can do this in a different way also. Like if you know the measure of one of the complementary angles, how to find the measure of the other complementary angle? It's a simple trick. What you have to do is, you can do it in one more way. So complementary of this. So complementary angle is equals to 90 minus 70. That is equals to 20. You can either do by this method or by this method. Okay. Now, what does this method? This method is a direct method. It says the complementary of the required angle will be 90 minus that angle. Okay. See, we have done the same thing over here. But if this question comes for 2 marks, you have to do a complete solution like this. Do not go in for shortcut. Remember students, whenever you are solving a sum, look at the marks allotted to it. If it is a 3-mark question and if you give something like this, then you will end up losing marks. Okay, you have to write in a proper systematic way as per the required marks. Okay, now let us solve some sums from your practice set. Let us look at sum number 1 from your practice set number 16. It says the measures of some angles are given below. Write the measure of their complementary angle. So let us look at the first sum. Practice set number 16. Sum number 1, sub question 1. It is 40 degrees. See, remember in the solved example, the measure was how much? 70 degree. It is 40 degrees over here. So we are going to say, let the measure of the complementary angle be x degree. Let the measure of the complementary angle be x degree. Now, complementary angle means what? If the sum of the measures of two angles is 90. Now, since this angle and this angle is complementary, therefore you can write 40 plus x is equals to 90 degree. Therefore, x is equals to 90 minus 40. Therefore, x is equals to 50 degrees. So, complementary angle of 40. So, last answer will be therefore the complementary angle of 40 degrees is, this will be therefore the measure of complementary angle of 40 degree is 50 degrees. Okay students, now let us solve sum number 6 and 7. Okay, sum number 6 and sum number 7. Sum number 6, you have got 90 degrees. Okay, so one of the measures is 90. Let us find what is the measure of the complementary angle of 90 degrees. We are going to say, let the measure of the complementary angle be x degree. Okay, therefore you can say 90 plus x degree is equals to 90. Why? Remember students, if you see a 90 over here, don't get confused, sir, this is 90, how can we write 90? The concept is if they are complementary, then their sum of the measure is 90. Understand? Okay. Let the measure of the complementary angle be x. Therefore, 90 plus x is equals to 90. Therefore, x is equals to 90 minus 90. Therefore, x is equals to 0 degrees. So, you're going to say, therefore, the measure of the complementary angle of 90 degrees is 0 degrees. I hope this is clear for you all. Now let us look at sum number 7. Okay, let us look at sum number 7. Sum number 7, they have said the measure is x degree. The measure is x degree. Now students, the measure is x. So what we are going to do, let the measure of the complementary angle of this be b, or I would say m. Okay, let the measure of the complementary angle be m. Okay. Now, therefore, see students, there were numbers in the previous examples. Now there is a variable. Don't get worried. Don't get worried. This is just a variable, which means this number can be anything. They have not given you a number. This can be anything. This is a generalized statement. So if the measure of angle is x degree, then what will be the measure of the complement of this angle? So what we are going to do is we are going to say let the measure be m. So since x and m are complementary, means their sum is 90 degrees. So you can therefore write x plus m is equals to 90 degree. Now we need to find the measure of m. So what we are going to do is we are going to take this x on the other hand side. Therefore m will be 90 minus x. So we cannot solve anything further. Why? Because 90 is a numeral and x is a variable. You cannot subtract. Do not write 90x. Huh? Do not write that. It is 90 minus x. So the measure of the complementary angle of x degree is 90 minus x degree. I hope this concept of complementary angles has been clear to you. Now students, let us solve question number 2 from your textbook. The question number 2 reads, y minus 20 and y plus 30 are measures of complementary angles. Find the measure of each angle. So what they have said is that y minus 20 and y plus 30 are the measures of complementary angles. Are the measures of complementary angles. So you have to find the measure of these two angles. Now in the measures there are variables. So what you're going to do is you're going to first find the value of that variable y, and then you're going to substitute over here to find the measure of the angles. Okay. Now let us do it step by step. What they have said that this and this is the measure of complementary angles. Now by definition of complementary angles, the sum of the measures of the angles is how much? 90. So since these are the measures of complementary angles, then you can say that the measure of this angle plus this angle will be how much? 90 degree. So you can directly say therefore y minus 20 plus y plus 30 equals to 90 degree. Okay. Open the brackets. Y minus 20 plus y plus 30 equals to 90. Y plus y will give you 2y. Minus 20 plus 30 will give you plus 10 equals to 90 degree. I'll keep the numerals on one side and the variables on the other hand side. So what I'm going to do, anything that is with an alphabet or a variable, I'm going to keep on the left hand side, and anything which does not have an alphabet or is a constant, I'll take it on the right hand side. So this has a variable, so I'm going to keep 2y over here, and this is a constant term, I'm going to take it on that side. So this becomes 90 plus 10 becomes minus 10. So 2y equals to 80. Therefore 2y equals to, therefore y is equals to 80 upon 2. Therefore y is equals to 40. Now you have got the measure of the variable y. We need to find the measure of the two angles. Now therefore we will find the value of y minus 20. Therefore y minus 20 will be 40 minus 20, that is equals to 20, and y plus 30 will be, what is the value of y? 40. 40 plus 30, that is equals to 70. See students, if I add them, the answer will be 90. So therefore you can say, therefore the measures of the two complementary angles are 20 degree and 70. Okay, I hope you have understood the concept till now. Now for your assignment, what you're going to do is you're going to solve practice set number 16. Whatever remaining sums are there of practice set number 16, those are your assignments. Thank you.